No, whatever happens, I love you.
As you know, I am
My brother, and I love you.
I love you too. Don't
at the beach.
Why would I embarrass you?
What?
Why would I
Yo.
embarrass you? Got the buzzcocks. Come on. You getting nervous?
Turn it down a tiny bit.
You
Hey,
ready?
hey.
All right.
Check,
we
1,
are
2.
dialing people.
All right. Yo.
How's it going, man?
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Oh shit. Hold on 1 second. Let me get. Okay, that should work. Can talk now? I should hear you now. I think.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear you, man.
And let's let Gavin talk for a second.
Oh, hey man, what's up?
What's going on, Gavin?
Oh, nothing. Just hanging out.
Excellent.
I can cut in a proper intro, or we can just do a rough one right here. But I'll just go ahead and go for it. All right.
Cool.
Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of When the Sun Sets East, brought to you by the Music Arc and the thearkofe Network. My name is Noah.
And my name is Gavin.
And we're the Blanchard brothers, and we have a very special guest, as I'm sure you've seen in the episode description. One Mr. Yoni Wolf is joining us today.
Yes. What's going on?
We're sitting here. We got a few questions.
Yeah.
Gavin tells me
man.
he prepped some things. I know none of them, so I apologize in advance for any of the stupid shit he's about to ask you.
Oh no.
As you may have heard, a lot of it is probably going to be Airborne related.
Yeah, it's all my questions are about the movie Airborne and the city of Cincinnati. So
Okay.
we
I
can
mean,
get
I gotta say, just it's gonna be great since I've never seen the film Airborne.
I assumed as much. I was like, your line of questioning's probably going to fall off quick, Gav.
There's some
Yeah.
stuff about the city in there that I can ask.
Okay,
so.
good.
Yeah, they're still probably answerable for sure. So I figured,
Good.
up front, thank you first of all for being on the
Yes,
show,
thank you, sir.
and more importantly, thank you for not suing us, sir. Thank you very much.
No. I'm glad to be on the show, and I have enjoyed greatly listening to you guys discuss my albums. It's awesome, and I do want to apologize up front in regards to the sound. I am sitting about 30 feet from the ocean, so in North Carolina, and you guys are in
Nice.
South Carolina. So
Yes, we
yeah.
are.
Yeah.
That'll just be some nice ambiance,
Yeah.
and of course, this is all going to be mastered by Mr. Nathan Hussey. So he'll make everything sound good and balanced between the
Wonderful.
three of us, hopefully. So
Just real quick, you
Go
don't
ahead.
have to give an exact. Just a yes or no. Are you not close to Morehead City / Emerald Isle? Or are you like up in the Outer Banks somewhere?
I'm in the Outer Banks. I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
where those things are. I'm on an island called Topsail. Topsail is spelled Topsail Island.
okay.
Somebody just told me
Yeah.
they were going there too.
Well, and again, thank you for taking time out of your
Yeah, we
vacation
appreciate
to
that.
talk
Thank
to
you.
us on top of all of that.
Of course.
So, yes.
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah,
man. So I figured we can kind of go one for one. Gavin, do you want to start?
Well, the first question I had was, have you seen Airborne?
Okay,
Which I
well, we
guess
answered
go
that
with
one.
I have not seen Airborne.
Okay. So if they remade the movie then, which you've never seen, would you want to be in it? Or would you want to score it? Would you want to be a technical advisor on the city of Cincinnati? Or the answer D was, what the fuck, man? Why are you asking me questions about Airborne? But, since we already decided that Airborne, that out of the way. So, yeah, essentially, it's just a movie about a guy that goes to, a surfer that has to go to Cincinnati, and he's also a rollerblader. And it's lovely. I think if you get the chance, maybe later tonight, if nobody's
it's a
doing
launching
anything,
pad
watch
for
it.
Seth Green and Jack Black. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
It's a total 90s
Okay.
movie. But yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So transitioning out of that, I thought I'd keep it brothers centric, if you will, since this whole podcast was about me trying to turn Gavin on to why. What
Right.
is something, whether it's a band or a movie, it could be anything, that you either turned Josiah onto or he turned you onto, like that you can directly point to, like I would not have been into that without my brother.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dirty past, a lot of skeletons in the closet,
Right.
for Josiah. He got me into Fish early on.
Okay.
The band Fish. He got me into the band Rush. I mean, as much as I never really got into Rush, but he was into that. And I don't want to say Dirty Stuff. These are great bands, right? He, Primus. He got me into pretty much everything really early on, except rap stuff I found
On your own.
but yeah, via some other friends of mine.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that sort of stuff he got me into. He was really into Terminator 2 when that came out, and I guess that influenced me to be interested in that. Yeah, lots of stuff. I mean, he's the big brother, so yeah, he got me into lots of stuff.
Yeah,
I would say I got him into rap stuff, I guess, in as much as he got into rap stuff.
Very cool. Terminator 2, actually, my first R-rated movie, and I guess I would have been how old at the time?
You were born in 90. That came out, what, 92, 93?
Yeah, I probably saw that at age 3. First R-rated movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Changed me forever. There we go.
Yep.
I was always allowed to watch like violent movies. That was never a problem. But if people kissed in a movie, premarital kissing or something like that, then it was a big no.
100%, definitely. There was a lot of covering our eyes and stuff that we were otherwise allowed to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, my dad took me when I was like 11 or something. He took me on this, he took me to like a motel, a half hour out of Cincinnati, in some suburb or whatever, and read this James Dobson book, Dr. Dobson or whatever, Christian child psychologist or whatever. Book about sex, basically what that was my, him telling me about, boys can be attracted to girls or whatever. And then, it was all really awkward. And then when he got done reading the whole book to me, we watched Die Hard. It's
a good palate cleanser,
so
I guess.
That kind of explains it. Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think somewhere in there's a metaphor for how Die Hard relates to puberty and adolescence, and I don't know, probably you could probably spin it somehow.
Yeah.
Do a deep dive on it.
You could definitely mine something out of there for sure. Okay, so but I guess back to Gavin. What's your
this relates
your
to
hard-hitting journalism over here?
Yeah,
I'm really impressed.
I don't know how you pronounce it, but is it the Crone or the Cron Conservatory? That's it. That's the
in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I think it's Crone Conservatory. Yeah.
Have you ever? Well, there's when you get to the movie, you're gonna love it. There's a scene where our young male lead Mitchell is trying to kind of woo a girl that he's interested in, and he has
Seth Green?
nice. Yeah, Seth Green. Yeah, that's
Seth Green is the cousin who lives in Cincy already.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the California surfer dude trying to woo one of the girls from Cincinnati.
But essentially, he puts on rollerblades and rollerblades all around the conservatory to one of the best 90s R&B smooth. I don't even know the name of that song, but you're gonna love it. But I wanted to know if you've ever been there, and if you have, was it part of a date where you're trying to woo a girl, and if so, did you have rollerblades, and was there music involved? But again,
I can say I've certainly been there. I in college, part of the stipulation for my scholarship at the University of Cincinnati was that I had to spend X amount of hours doing volunteer work, and I spent my early Saturday mornings for several months cleaning at the Crone Conservatory, so sweeping up all the dead leaves or whatever, and just being a general janitor there. And I can also say that I have taken at least one date to the Crone Conservatory. Well, I'm sure I've gone with my current girlfriend and probably some previous relationship, but I know I took one OkCupid date that I had just that I had met just on the OkCupid, and to Crone Conservatory. It didn't work out exactly, but she was sweet, and we it was nice. We were not on rollerblades, but we might as well been.
Yes.
I was gonna say maybe that's why it didn't work out if you were on rollerblades.
Exactly.
It makes sense.
So I'll vouch for OkCupid. My girlfriend of going on 3 years. We met online. So there we go.
Really?
Yes.
Very cool.
She is at work currently, waiting for me to pick her up here in a little while. And she also a fan in her own right. She actually turned me on to like the Cloud Dead stuff and Jaime's Basement because
Oh, wow.
like the second or third date, we just were talking about everything that we're into. I mentioned why, and she actually knew what it was. So that in and of itself, I was like, okay, there might be something
that's
here.
how you know she's a keeper.
Exactly,
Yeah.
man, exactly. And Lynch came up in the same conversation. She was like, "Oh, that's my favorite director." So there we go. It was a good
There
start.
you go, man.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. She
Good taste.
wishes she could have sat in, but she'll be at the Asheville show. That's the plan. Right
Oh,
now.
wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes. So you can meet the lovely Veronica. Anyways,
Yes.
okay. Given that this was an arguably niche endeavor on a niche network, this is
What do you mean, dude?
no offense meant.
I'm just
But I
kidding.
guess what I'm saying is, if you weren't just doing Wandering Wolf, or what's a podcast that you wish was out there? Like, what's a band that you think deserves a deep dive? Multi-part series.
Oh, yeah. That you what? Something to give you guys a suggestion for your next endeavor?
Well, I mean that you can piggyback off of that, but also just like who's the band that you're like nobody talks about them, but they would be a great subject, I guess. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, I almost think any band that's been around for a long time, and has a good amount of albums, you could get into a deep dive. I mean, depending on who you're a fan of course.
Yeah.
But let's see, who would I like to see a deep dive about?
And speaking of which, while you're thinking, have you listened to Analyze Fish, which is Scott Aukerman and the late great Harris Whittles going through all of Fish's albums?
No, I haven't, but that sounds like, you could definitely go deep there. They've been around for a long, long time. So.
Highly recommend it, and they take a comedic approach to it. It's a ton of fun.
Highly recommended. Yes. Highly recommended.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of a specific band. Let me come back to that if I
Absolutely.
can.
We can move along. Gavin, go right ahead, sir.
So there's a scene in Airborne where they're playing roller hockey, and I just wanted to know, one, was roller hockey like a big thing in the mid or early 90s? And also there's a ton of old Toyota Camrys, Tercels, and Corollas. And basically, I was wondering if you knew if that's like a place where all old Toyota sedans go to die, because it just seems to be a ton of them in Cincinnati. And I'm thinking, you're not too far from Detroit, Motor City. Why do we have all these Toyotas in this movie? Again, these questions only work if you've seen it, which I understand. Maybe sometime down the road we can revisit all of them. That'd be a great podcast after you've watched it, and you can be like, yeah, I don't see it. What's the big deal? Or you're like, oh, dude, I totally understand all these questions now.
I have some theories. I mean, I would say that maybe the movie was sponsored by Toyota.
Yeah.
And that way you get all those Toyota cars in there. But also, yeah, I feel like I see a fair amount of those. I keep hearing a beep, which may mean my headphones are about to die, which in that case I'll just get on my phone.
Okay.
So just not to be alarmed.
No problem.
That's one thought there.
I got one. What was your first car that you drove around Cincinnati? How about that?
Well, I first was driving my mom's Volvo, I guess, when I was a kid. The first car I ever bought, I was like 30 when I bought it, and that was a Volvo as well.
Nice.
V70 big Volvo hatchback from 98, and I got it in around 2010 or something like that. And I've only had two cars, and my second car I have now is a 2001 Jetta.
Nice. Keeping it Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Keeping it German. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know.
No judgments. I was lucky enough to have a BMW second hand.
Hold on one second. If you guys can hear me, I'm coming back. I'm coming back on the phone. Hold on one second. My headphones died.
Alrighty.
All right, you guys there?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. Let me get on speaker though, real quick, so I can. Okay, good. Now I'm here.
Okay. Alrighty. Awesome. Yeah, I was saying I had a BMW, luckily, in high school. It didn't last long, but yeah, it was an old like 98 that I got at a really good price.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's been all Honda since then. Anyways, Is it my turn? Is that where we're at?
Let him finish what he was going to talk
Oh.
about with his. I need to know what the theories were about.
Oh, the theories. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
What was the second theory? So you were asking about Toyotas, but then there was something else you asked about.
Oh,
was hockey big?
if like roller hockey was a big deal in the early 90s.
yeah.
and-
I had me and all my friends had rollerblades, and I think people played roller hockey. I never really did, but yeah, I think rollerblades were a phenomenon everywhere in the U.S.
Yeah.
In the early 90s. That was a thing. So I think really, Airborne or Airbud or whatever whichever movie we're talking about here came about because of the trend. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is there an area in Cincinnati that looks like it's basically San Francisco with the hills?
Yeah, I
And
think they shot
Is there
that-
a place called Devil's Backbone?
I don't know about Devil's Backbone. That's probably named, for the movie or whatever.
Obviously, yeah.
But like, yeah, they shot that, I think, mostly in this area called Mount Adams. But yeah, Cincinnati is very hilly, and there are parts that look like San Francisco. In fact, my street looks somewhat. People say it looks like San Francisco because it's a bunch of old
nice.
Victorians, colorful Victorians.
Like the
little
Full House
taste
Street,
of the West
like
Coast.
just the slant with all the nice townhouses on it.
Yeah, little townhouses.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's pretty dope.
While we touched on the West Coast for a second, I'll just throw it in here. Have you watched Bellflower yet?
No, I still have not seen Bellflower. I need to do that.
Okay.
Where is that available?
It is readily available, streaming on Amazon Prime right now. If you're a Prime guy.
Yeah, we have Prime. We have that.
I'm gonna say not a great date movie. Like maybe don't want to watch it with Grace.
Okay.
Maybe watch it solo.
Okay.
That's what I'd recommend.
All right. It's gonna make
but
me
yeah.
question my relationship, is what you're saying.
Not even that. I feel like I again, this is all from the outside. I feel like you may relate to it more in like, oh, I understand that headspace that maybe I have been in like in the past.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely like wrapped up inside the male psyche and everything in a lot of interesting ways. But
Got it.
I don't want to say anything more than that. But yeah, it's definitely a check it out by yourself kind
All
of
right.
movie, I feel like.
I will.
Anyways, okay. So let's talk about at least something straight up band related. With the upcoming Alopecia tour, is this the first time you've played it start to finish? Chronologically,
Yeah.
outside of maybe like an album release show, or have
No,
you
we
ever
never-
done that before?
We never played it start to finish like that. Yeah, this would be the first time ever.
Have you guys been doing like rehearsals in their entirety? Is it more just like brushing up before you go out?
We'll start
or-
rehearsals when I get back from vacation in
Gotcha.
a few days. So I get back on the 11th, and then we'll start on the 12th. Yeah.
Very cool. And as I said, the plan right now, I'm going to catch you at U Street Theater in D.C. I believe that's the 2nd. And Gavin's theoretically going to join me for that one.
Great.
And then I'm going to try and catch you guys a few days later in Asheville. So
Well, let me know about any of these ahead
I
of
cannot
time,
wait.
so I know you guys are going to be around.
Absolutely, man. For
Cool.
sure.
Wonderful.
I'd love to do like, I know that's on the tail end of the tour. I'd love to do even just like a little 15-minute thing of like, hey, how'd
Yeah.
it go? How'd you feel beforehand going into it? And I mean, obviously there's been a huge response thus far. You guys have been posting the multi-part series of the making of, which
Yeah.
I don't know if Gab's actually watched any of those yet, but I've been thoroughly enjoying those. That's
Yeah,
really,
they're
really
funny,
cool to see
man.
behind
We
the
tried
scenes.
to cut the funniest stuff,
Yeah. How much footage exists, if I might ask?
Oh, hours and
In
hours
total.
and hours. Probably
Yeah.
24. I don't know, many hours.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely need to check those out, Gav. And how many more parts, or is it just the 5?
I can't remember. I think it's 5 or 6. So maybe there's one more. Maybe.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I should also say, obviously, Moline did not go up last week. We were on a delay, and then on top of that, Dawood and Rachel were on a delay as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to go up this coming Wednesday, and then I think we're going to hold this probably until the following Wednesday.
Perfect.
And I know you're.
It's good. I always look forward
Yeah.
to listening. So that gave me an extra week of the podcast. So it's good.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of people like catching up in the meantime, which is good to see. So
Perfect.
Yeah, and again, thank you so much, man, for just getting the word out in the first place.
Oh,
and,
my
like,
pleasure.
actually listening to it.
Yeah.
So cool. Okay, go ahead, Gavin. Go ahead.
So talking about, the podcast and everything, do you have anybody that you like? You have like maybe like a short list of like a dream interview scenario? I know I've listened to a few episodes of your show, which is awesome, and I think you see I've like been shouting it out on Instagram, but I don't know if maybe somewhere in there or somewhere you've kind of stated, oh, I'd love to talk to this person or that person. But I was just curious if you had a certain, two or three people that like if you could just get to sit down with them for an hour, that would be enough for you to be like, okay, I don't want a podcast anymore. Like I've met my heroes kind of thing. I know they say don't ever meet your heroes.
Yeah,
but
who's the game ender?
yeah,
I guess.
who's the end game of all this? If you have 3 episodes left to do, and then you're done, who would they be?
Right. Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I think, I don't really think about an individual that way. It's really more like I enjoy the project as a whole, and just sort of getting to know a bunch of different people, and sort of, I mean, and I'm not trying to be sort of political or any, or careful about what I say, but I really do enjoy each conversation, even the ones that aren't like, famous people, like, they're maybe my
Yeah, exactly.
friends
I
or
mean,
family,
a lot of the most compelling ones have been the family-centric ones, and like I just listened to you talking to your yoga instructor from like a few years back, and like that was interesting in and of itself. Like,
yeah. So,
but I love the deep dive on the individuals. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, it really comes down to more so than like who the person is or what they've done in their lives. In some ways, it's like how like willing are they to really open up and have a conversation. Like, those are my favorite ones, is when we go deeper than just like, someone's career. Like, I like to really get into more personal stuff, or talk about someone's spiritual life, or talk about someone's sort of, personal work habits, or their, leisure activities they like to do, or their fucked up health history, or their fucked up mental health, or, that's the stuff I like to talk about. It's not super interesting for me to be like, oh, okay, and then you got on this label then, and then you put out this album, and then you put out this, like, that's not as fun for me. So it really just comes down to that. But honestly, anybody that's done really cool shit in their lives, those are the people I like talking to.
That's awesome.
Definitely. I've got some guest questions. I didn't enlist the listeners because, of course, you're awesome about giving people venues to ask you anything.
That's why all my questions were about Airborne, because I was like, no one's probably asking
with
about
the
this.
Instagram live stuff and everything. But I did ask some of my close friends if they had anything in particular they wanted to ask. So this is one from my buddy Tim Niles. He wanted to know what's the first instrument you picked up, and then he also asked favorite artist, which I know is like almost impossible to pick probably. So we'll just go with what's the first instrument you picked up and learned.
And I'll try to answer that second one in a way. I mean, so the first instrument that I played was drums. It was in the house, and it was, my dad was a drummer, so he taught my brother and I. He took us up to the congregation, the synagogue that he led one time, and sat us down on the drum set and was like, here's how you play here's how you play a rock beat or whatever. Boom, ka, boom, ka, whatever. And so we did that, and then the piano came after that, and those are the instruments really that I know how to play for real, and everything else I just kind of fool around on. And I can record, I can play bass or guitar or any of that stuff for recordings, but I wouldn't play guitar live. I play bass live, even though I'm not a like terrific bass player or whatever, but I have good rhythm, and I can dig in. In terms of my favorite bands or whatever, like stuff like that, I don't know. I can't name like an individual band or a specific band that's like my favorite of all time or something, but I can say that right now I feel like I'm only really listening to women artists. That I don't know why, but it's the era of women, I think, and it's the era of women sort of stepping into music and saying, look, we're here and we've been here, and you know, we have something to say, and so that's that. I've been really listening to tons of female artists.
Gotcha. And we should, of course, say shout out to the Ophelia's new record,
yeah.
Yes,
which has
that's
been out for a
dope.
couple weeks now. Everybody go check that out. Go actually spend money on it. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And I think I asked you in a text, but yeah, I hope they do some East Coast dates because we would love to catch
Yeah,
them
that'd
as
be
well.
great to
That would
go
be
see them.
amazing.
I hope they make it as well, man. We'll see.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gav. What-
Well, I mean, I can kind of keep it artist centric now. Can you recall if you maybe, maybe you've mentioned it somewhere before. When did you first hear like rap, hip hop? What was the first song or artist that you were like, wait a minute, what is this? And how can I do this?
Yeah.
Do you have a specific
yeah.
one you can recall?
Yeah, I do. You know, I when I was like maybe 12 or 13, I got into like Beastie Boys, but it was never really like that close to my heart. It was kind of like, okay, you know, my friends listen to this, so I'll buy this CD or whatever. And I did that, and it was cool. It was fine. But the thing that really hit me hard was Midnight Marauders by Tribe Called Quest. Like, my friend, I was rooming with my friend at this like religious conference thing, which was kind of like a sleepaway camp almost. And he had his Discman and like headphones, and he was like, dude, you know, you got to listen to this album and before bed. And, you know, I just laid in bed in the dark room and listened to that album front to end, and that kind of blew my mind. So that was definitely the first thing that was like, what the fuck is this? And then after that, I just got into all the native tongue stuff and got, you know, that was like a moment for sure.
Absolutely. I'll piggyback on that for a second. Thoughts on We've Got It From Here. Thank you for your service. That is an album that like totally reinvigorated my interest in hip hop, like tail end of last year.
What is that? Whose album is that?
Sorry, the most recent Tribe. It's
yeah. I only
I was
heard
just
it like
wondering what
twice,
you
but it was
thought,
really
Tribe.
good.
Yeah, I thought it was particularly a standout, and then like Run the Jewels, Kendrick, and Frank Ocean have kind of been the thing that I was like, oh shit, there is like super interesting stuff going on currently that I maybe wasn't paying attention to, but yeah.
Can I? Hey, you guys. Can I call
man.
you back in 5 minutes? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
To finish
yeah,
up?
totally, man.
Okay.
No problem.
I'll call you right back. Okay.
Okay,
That'll work. Thank you.
And you are on your digital recorder as well, right?
Yes. I
Okay.
hope it's
What do you
coming
mean
out well. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah,
What do you use? Like what?
Oh, Gavin's curious about
I'm
your
just
setup.
curious about yourself. What you use? I know I've listened to some where you've used the digital. What brand? What model or whatever? What are you using?
It's an Olympus. Olympus. I'm not sure what the model. I guess the model is
Oh, okay.
linear PCM recorder LS108.
Okay. Well, we have that recorded for posterity.
Yeah, now we can.
Gavin can start his own interview series.
There you
which has
go.
been in the works. Yeah.
I
No,
can't
don't worry,
promise
we do
this is the
stuff with
best,
people
but
I
it's nice
know.
and small.
Oh, that works. I mean, I've just been trying to figure out something with people, kind of like you're talking about, just interesting people. Because I've got some friends that are like comedians in Colombia, and a girl that works in some of the smaller film companies in Colombia. And I'm like, what do you guys do for your day job? Because I mean, I work at a bank, so it's kind of like it's boring. And this is the one like creative thing that Noah asked me to do a long time ago. That I'm like, yes, this is something I can do that like scratches that creative itch that I've had since college.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And now I see people who are like, oh yeah, I'm doing this and that. And I'm like, that's great. But like, you're a comedian in the capital of South Carolina. Great. What do you do to make money? Are you able to make it off these shows that you do? Or is that why you're at every mic
what's
I
your
see?
day-to-day basis?
So and it may not be interesting to anybody else, but I'm like, that kind of stuff fascinates me, especially if it's a job that you hear something about, but you don't necessarily know what it entails. So I've been trying to work that out, and I've got a few people lined up. I just got to get
If you record
it all
them,
set up.
I'll put them up, brother.
I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah.
All right. I've got one more guest question. This is from my buddy Colin Tuhig.
Okay.
Big fan in his own right. He asks, what the fuck is Strawberries about, and why can't I stop listening to it?
Huh.
That was his one question.
I don't know what it's hard to.
If there is an answer for strawberries in particular.
Yeah, it's hard to like whoever said, writing or talking about music is like dancing about architecture, but
Yes.
I don't really know what the song is about in that way. I mean, it is a song that exists because it was a feeling that existed. As far as why can't he get it out of his head? That's very careful
'Cause-
melody writing, and that hooks them hooks.
I was gonna say, is it true that the hook brings you back?
Yeah,
I ain't telling you no lie, because
Yes, that is in fact
according to Blues
true,
Travelers,
Mr.
that's
John Popper.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
All right.
yeah, man.
I've got one last kind of big one.
Okay.
And it'll hinge once again on whether you've seen something, but we can still go down this road regardless. Have you seen the film Almost Famous?
Oh yes, I have.
Okay. I guess first question: are you a fan?
Yeah, I like that movie. Yeah.
Okay, that's my personal favorite movie of all time, as it stands at the moment. It combines my two favorite loves of like movie and music, and it's set in the 70s, probably my favorite decade,
Yeah.
even though I'm super far removed from it. But anyways, yeah, so it just scratches that itch. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but it's my favorite movie. Anyways, I don't know if you'll recall the character played by Mr. Jimmy Fallon, but he gives a lesson in mystique, okay? And he holds a Zippo lighter in one hand, and in the other hand, nothing. And the lighter is visible, the other is a clenched fist. And it's basically like, which are you going to choose? As long as you don't know what's in this fist, you'll always want it more. So this is a long-winded way of asking. As an artist who you put everything on Front Street, you're very open, very honest. How much is that a factor for you personally, and also maybe some of the like acts that you enjoy? How important do you think mystique is, or like having a remove from your audience as opposed to letting them in? Yeah.
Well,
if that makes any sense.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I think that it definitely plays a role in like hype. Mystique plays a role in hype. I think when you think of someone like Sufjan Stevens or something like that, like he doesn't do interviews, and that makes him sort of exciting, or it makes you want to know more about him somehow. So yeah, some people get into that sort of thing, forced mystique. I think for him, it just comes down to the fact that he doesn't want to do interviews; he wants to live his life.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I've never really had much of a mystique, I don't think, or I haven't really attempted to cultivate that.
And that's kind of what I'm asking, I guess,
Yeah.
is like I feel like you've been very upfront and always tried to like bridge the gap between you and an audience instead of like creating a barrier between
Yeah.
the two. And you've been very open with your fan base. And I don't know. It's a long-winded way of like trying to compliment you on that. It's not even
thank
really
you.
a question, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I like artists that are open. I mean, there's also something to artists that have a mystique, and you can kind of guess it. I think it's a product of our times as well. Like
Absolutely.
I used to like listening to somebody like Bob Dylan and really trying to guess at what he was talking about or what he was doing in his personal life and whatnot. Now since then, I mean, a lot of that's been covered by different documentarians and whatnot. But
Right.
there was something to that, I think, back in the days of before the internet. And now with all the social media and everything, everyone's so accessible. I don't know if that's really a thing as much anymore.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of fallen by the wayside overall.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Gavin, you have like a final Airborne related question,
No,
or just
no,
something
my-
that came to you in the room?
No, well, I mean, I've just we were talking about. I can't. It popped into my head, and you moved on to something else, and I've completely forgotten it. It'll come back to me an hour later when I'm driving home, and I'm just be like, shit, I should have asked that. But I will say that throughout this, and I think I mentioned it on. I don't remember what show it was, but I said like, I kind of thought it'd even be funny to me if all this stuff was just like, whatever. Like, I'm just throwing it out there. It is, I'm good, I'm fine, nothing, I got my own stuff I'm dealing with, but I'm great. I fucking love my life, I'm good. But like, all this, like, these 4 albums of just like all this different stuff, the music, the transitions, the lyrics, all that. Well, was it 4 or 5? How many of these shows have we done?
We've done 5.
5? Okay.
Moline is not public yet.
I think
but
there's
yes.
6 albums total.
Actually, that's a great question right there. And yes, Oakland Azul, we address it on episode 5.
Great.
I have this whole long-winded theory. I can't wait for you to hear it. You gotta let me know what you think. It's the 5-fingered Y theory you'll hear it on the episode.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it now.
Sounds good.
But where were you going with that?
No, I was just gonna say I like that so much that with Colin's question that I don't really know what it was about. Like, it was a feeling, it was a time, and I think there's some people, like, there's stuff that it feels like the stuff that everybody is out there and everybody's like, oh, this is a Billboard 100 hit. It feels manufactured. It feels like it's made to be listened to so that people can consume it. Whereas like some of this stuff, like a lot of the stuff on this album and a lot of other stuff that's, you would call it niche, you call it like underground, whatever you want to call it, it's more from the heart, more from again, you have an emotion, you have a reaction, you write a lyric, you make a song, and I appreciate that more than I can someone who's locked into a singer who just sings a song somebody wrote for him. This more personal connection is where where I'm kind of drawing things, which that's why I made the joke about, wouldn't it be funny if this was just whatever?
I think there's all different ways that people use music. Like it can be used in a way that that works for stuff that's more manufactured or more intentionally selling itself, and that's more for like maybe when you're in the club or something like that. And I think probably the music that I make is more for individuals to listen to, on their own and whatnot, not necessarily party music. And but yeah, I think there are all kinds of applications and all kinds of, there's a time and place for every sort of style and all that. But yeah, I think music has definitely gotten wrapped up in capitalism, I guess, or just like the way that we live now, and has become a very distinct thing. All through the eras of music, it's been used in different ways, but this current way is very strange if you really step back from it and think about all these artists selling themselves on them, on the merit of themselves, or whatever they're talking about and everything. And yeah, it's really weird, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And okay, so I remembered now. My one question I had, just because I just was curious, a while ago, before Noah moved into this new studio, I came down to his place and we were going to record an episode, and I said, can you imagine not doing this anymore? And he was like, no, I want to do this like as long as we can. So that's going to be my last one, and then I'm good to let you get back to your vacation on the coast. But
what's your question?
Do you remember a time after you started doing the podcast or after you started doing the music thing that you were just kind of like, I can't imagine not doing this anymore. Like, this is a part of me now, and I'm just going to do this until I'm as long as I can.
Yeah, I mean, definitely early on when I first started making music, it had that urgency to it. I would say since then, since like the first, 3-4 years of doing it in like the early 2000s or late 90s, like, it sort of is more the opposite, where I question everything I do. Should I be doing this? Is there a better way to spend my time? Are there more important things for me to do? What's going on here at all? Why are humans or any life in existence at all? And what is this universe building towards or working towards? And in the face of all that, what am I doing and why? That said, I like what I do. I think it's worthwhile, and I think
we like it too, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We definitely think it's worthwhile.
And as far as the podcast goes, you know, I feel like with the podcast, to be honest, like if I could make a living doing that, like, I would, and I would do music on the side and not stress out about it like I do, you know, and I wouldn't have to feel like I had to, you know, hustle my music, you know, in any way. Just do it when I do it, and go from there. And the podcast would be my job. I could do that for sure. I love doing the podcast.
Well, that's the mystique thing right there, man. You just be like, oh, I'm done making music. I'm only doing podcasts now. And that's like your mystique legend. Like, oh, he had this a certain amount of albums he put out and he's
Top
done.
of his game.
Mystique.
Gave it all away
Yeah, exactly.
For podcasts.
Walked away for the podcast.
Mystique
Be
straight to the
perfect, man.
streets, you know, because
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's it.
That'd
I'll
be
be homeless
perfect.
within a month.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Let's not let that happen.
Yeah.
People. Go buy all of this music. Actually spend physical dollars
There
on
you
it,
go.
or digital dollars, whatever
There you
works for you. All right, I think we'll wrap it up and let you get back to your vacation. I cannot thank you enough for doing this, man.
thank you very much.
Yes.
Appreciate
Thank you
so
guys
much.
so much,
Thank you
man.
so much.
I really appreciate your guys' interest, and yeah, like I said, I've really been enjoying listening to it. So I'll be listening this Wednesday.
Absolutely, and we'll take a long break, but as soon as we go to the live show, we're definitely going to do, you know, a recap of that.
Sounds
for sure.
good.
So
Unless-
people can look forward to when the Sunset Sea's returning.
Unless we got a hot take right now and you guys have a brand new album in store and it's going to be dropping as soon as you're done
Yeah,
with the
and
tour
you wanna
wanna
reveal that
expose it right
information
here,
on
we
this
would love it.
podcast.
All right, that sounds good.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, thanks you guys.
All right, man. Absolutely. Will you do us the courtesy of the sign off, sir?
Yeah, what do I say? What?
We'll see you in the Sunset Seas. We'll try and do it all together, and maybe I'll sync it up if need be.
All
But
right.
I'll start. So for this week, I have been Noah,
I have been Gavin.
I've been Yoni.
and we'll see you when the sun sets
east.
I'll see you when the sun sets east. Don't forget me.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much,
You have
man.
a great rest of the day.
Thanks,
and,
guys. You
I'll
too.
let you know when the episode's up.
Enjoy your
Perfect.
vacation. Have fun getting back.
And
Be
say,
safe.
hey, Noah, will you send me your email on text or whatever so I can send you this audio.
Absolutely. You want to do email or Dropbox? What's more convenient?
I don't really have. I don't pay for Dropbox, so my shit's all filled up.
gotcha.
Let me just send it to you on WeTransfer if that's cool with you.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay.
All right. So yeah,
you immediately.
perfect. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. You have a good one.
Have a good one. Bye.
Later.
Dude, that's the dopest shit we've done. Oh my god.
Fuck. Oh my god.